All right, we just had a new moon, July 23rd, and I just found out a lot of powerful information about that date, July 23rd. I've been sharing that information on this channel, Real Life and Metaphysics. But it did mean change. Now, change is not necessarily a bad thing, but change is just natural. Because if you're not experiencing different kind of changes in your life, there is a problem. And what God will do, or the universe will do, it'll bring change. Like if you try to play it safe, the universe is still going to bring some type of change into your life, whether you like it or not. So, change is good. That's the main thing I put up here. We had Twin Flame Era came out here. They gave us 6 videos. They were supposed to teach us about Twin Flame, but apparently it didn't work out, and they stopped. They never came back to tell us what happened. You had Angel Creation, Angelica. She was an expert, kind of like a master teacher, and in her Twin Flame situation didn't work out. She created a new channel, and she stayed on that channel for a little while, and then she disappeared as well. So change is going to happen. So be ready for it. It is going to happen. It's not a bad thing. You may look at it as a bit, but it's not a bad thing. People are growing, people are learning, and people are moving into their own journey. So it's not a bad thing. Uh, so it is something we will have to deal with, and it's life. Now, I do want to say one thing. A lot of people that really get into this twin flames thing because it's very powerful, and they just feel like because it's so powerful, it has to be real, and their heart gets involved, and it's very real. But as time goes on, reality, third dimensional, sets in, and more people are interested in third dimensional than they are in twin flames. Like let me just give an example. Like let's just say you met your twin flame at your job, and then you guys go through the whole stages of twin flames. And if you're interested in twin flames, if you are twin flames, make sure you know what the stages are, because a lot of twin flamers don't even know what the stages are. So how are you going to understand this if you don't even know the stages? You can look that right up on YouTube. Very simple. The video's not that long. But let's just say they made it work or whatever, and maybe they could have been together, but they weren't for whatever reason. And let's just say the female, she's with somebody else or what's going on, and she starts having kids with that person. But let's just say something happens with that person, and somehow that female ends up in your life again. You're minding your own business or whatever, and there she is at the store or something, and somehow you guys start talking. Now the reality is this: you may not want to raise those kids. Plus, you're pissed off because you're saying, well, you had these kids when you was, at work with me. You were staring at me, following me around, and now let's say you got 3 kids with this guy, and now he wouldn't put a ring on your finger, and now he's not with you, and now you got these 3 kids, and now you're looking at me like, what the fuck do you want from me? Now that's a real situation because I've had females do that. I've had females have kids with somebody else and tell me, oh, you're going to be the father. Like, I'm not going to be the father because I'm not the kids. I'm not the father's kids. But again, when you understand this from a spiritual aspect, see, I understand this from a spiritual aspect, and there really is negative energy, or what the Christians would call Satan, and he'll do anything to bog you down. So you do have to be awake to a lot of situations, and that's just the reality that we're in. You can call it third dimension or whatever, but it's still a reality of being here. And do you really want this situation? Do you really want this situation with this person? Do you really want to raise kids that every time you look at those kids is going to remind you of her sleeping with this guy when she's following you around the building and doing all this other stuff in a romantic whatever way with you? So it could be it could be very painful and stuff like that. And plus, you have to really question her integrity as a person, which is important when you're talking about being with somebody. So these are what you would call twin flame truths, and these are just some of the reasons why twin flames don't unite. And also, there's even, sometimes it's just minor reasons. Minor reasons. That was a more major reason. So that's the reality of it. Now, me, I stay on my journey. See, me is different. I want the natal chart because I want to know what's going on. And I'm studying it. And I keep everything close to heart in my mind. Because some people say, oh, that didn't happen, or that. And I always say a couple of things. Just because it didn't happen yet doesn't mean it didn't happen or won't happen. This may be something with your past life with that person, whatever's going on. But I know, even if you listen to my more recent videos on this channel on Archangel Revelations, Prophecies 444, you see the Archangels doing an unbelievable job in taking you back to the natal chart and answering questions. So I don't tend to doubt. I think sometimes people look at life from a, they want to understand everything. Sometimes you just have to walk the journey. And as you walk the journey and work with the archangels, work with spirit, you'll get better answers to your questions. That's how I look at it. I never look at it like, oh, that never happened. No. Because that's a person who's still trying to work in the mental. And when you're dealing with spirit and archangels, you got to learn how to work in the spirit. And when you work in the spirit, that's how it's going to be revealed to you of what's happening, what's going on. So it does take a little bit of humility. So me, like I said, I'm always going to stay up to date with this because this is my journey. And obviously twin flames is a part of my journey. Now whether we form a union in this world or not, I don't know. But I also know how the universe works. And the more I'm advancing, she's still advancing. Because it's still going to be a journey. Whether you two come together and actually do that journey together in this life, it's still a journey because that's your soul. So I learned to focus on stuff like that. Most people are focusing on, they want to feel touch. Oh, I want to hug. I want to kiss. Oh, I don't want to be alone. But this is bigger than that. Twin flames is way big. You're talking about your soul. You're talking about soul evolution. You're talking about coming back from source. It's way higher than that. It's nice if you guys get together, but it may not happen. And I'm always going to say it. People don't like when I say it, but it's 7 billion people on the planet. So you don't have to be lonely. If you're lonely, it's because you choose to be. Now, some people like life to be a certain way. So if you like life to be a certain way, then you're going to have trouble in a relationship because that person may be totally different than how you want your life to be. So every situation you walk into is going to have undesirable things. So you have to ask yourself, are you ready for it? Like when you go to a job, you have to obey the rules unless you're one of those people that can get away with it. And in your relationship with another person, it is what it is. But again, that's why people arguing and all that, and And me, I really believe in ascension. Like I'm not one of these people going to use these words and then not have it in my life. So ascension to me kind of does mean walking past a lot of stuff. Because I'm in so many locations where people just try to start an argument. But I've come to realize why, because I'm trying to ascend, and negative energy is using these people to try to pull me back into foolishness. He said, she said, all stupid stuff. So sometimes, as long as you can walk away from a situation, I tend to, because it's not worth wasting my energy on no foolishness. So change is going to occur one way or another, and God is in control. And if it really is God's will that you have some type of meeting or communication, even if it's telepathic communication with your twin, that's going to happen. But when you really trust spirit, you just go forward. And even when change comes, instead of freaking out, change is natural. It's going to come. People move on. Even if you got a buddy out on YouTube, that person may get a girlfriend. You understand? They're going to move on. The guy might get a job. He's going to move on. These things happen. It's not the biggest. It's not the biggest. It's only the biggest thing if we waste our energy thinking about it. But if you really just let it go, let it go out to the universe, things will be just fine. And spend more time growing with God, whether it's through prayer, meditation, whatever you're doing. Grow with God to get your life right. Get your life better than what it is and stuff like that. If you got other responsibilities, are you being a responsible person? Are there people that depend on you? Are you being supportive of these people that depend on you, like family and stuff like that? This is where your mind needs to be. Your mind doesn't need to be on all that silly stuff that, basically, it's kiddie stuff. It's kiddie stuff, like a lot of social media nonsense. It's kiddie stuff. So you want to real life change is going to come. Accept change. Always be with God. Always be with spirit. And then everything will work out. Through whatever the change is, no matter how dreadful it is, you could be in a head-on collision. You could almost lose your life. These things are going to happen. But this is the universe working things out in you, and you just gotta rely on spirit, and then let it go. Because if spirit does what it says it does, and it does, then you don't really have nothing to worry about. So you're over worrying, you're overthinking things that God's already got in check anyway. So just learn how to walk with spirit, trust in God, and when change comes, you can't stop it. You know, if it's meant to go, it's meant to go. Like sometimes you try to tell somebody, "Oh, please don't go," or "We can work it out." But if it's gonna change, it's gonna change. And like I said, in the case of a female that maybe immoral or whatever, then common sense would tell you that might not be the one for you. I don't care if she's your twin flame or not, because she has to learn character before she could ever learn a relationship and stuff. So a dead person would have a lot of growing up to do too. Doesn't mean they won't change or whatever, but trust the universe and stop trying to work it out yourself. But change is inevitable. Change is inevitable for everybody. God bless.